It's been a pretty doom and gloom start to 2024, and you'd be forgiven if you were absolutely tired of the bad news. Guess what? This is my job, and I'm absolutely sick of it too, so let's take a step back and actually focus on some more exciting and positive developments within our industry. Emirates is gearing up for the delivery of its first Airbus A350, and today has announced the first 9 sets of destinations to make up the network of this aircraft. The first A350 is expected to enter service by September 2024. However, the rapid delivery will be felt following this, with 10 new A350s set to join from then through to the 31st of March 2025. So it really will be a rapid introduction from here on out. The 9 destinations that have been selected are really being introduced to offer customers a glimpse at the latest cabin experience and obviously this next generation aircraft. Labelled as a game changer by the carrier, as always, this is not necessarily a new way to describe an inbound aircraft. The A350 truly is a glimpse into the future of Emirates, as it adapts to this ever-changing industry. With 65 A350-900s currently on order, the popular wide-body series is obviously expected to be a mainstay for decades to come. Not only will it offer those next-generation cabin features, but the airline adds that the aircraft will aid future growth and align with Dubai's economic growth targets. In terms of the deployment, Emirates says its first A350 will head towards Bahrain, starting on September 15th with a daily service. Meanwhile, on September 16th, the carrier will deploy the A350 to Kuwait daily. Emirates further notes that Muscat's daily flights will be swapped to the 350 from December 1. This is part of a Middle Eastern and GCC network roundup. Across Europe, the A350 will also be deployed daily towards Lyon, starting December 1st. Meanwhile, Bologna will see service from December 1. Most notably in Europe, the company actually says that the A350 will venture towards Edinburgh, as the city returns to the network on November 4th. The carrier adds that more details will follow shortly on the specifics of the Edinburgh A350 operation, but service resumption to Edinburgh with this aircraft really highlights the kind of target demographic that Emirates is looking at achieving with this new aircraft. West Asia will be another focus point for the A350, with Mumbai seeing the aircraft daily from as early as October 27th. Ahmedabad will also welcome the 350 daily as EK538-539. Lastly, Emirates' 4th daily service to Colombo in Sri Lanka will be served by the 350 from January 2025. These destinations are really considered the initial ones for the aircraft. However, as you would expect and as more A350 units are delivered, they say to watch their feeds as an airline as they will be announcing more destinations. One of the notable omissions from this is Adelaide in Australia, which was initially touted as being the debut city, but is not featured in the first 9. The delivery of the A350 does really represent a new era for Emirates, as it moves towards the next generation of fleet for arguably the first time in a while. Additionally, the A350 will see the company shift away from its current fleet dynamic. Emirates has expressed considerable excitement levels for the arrival of this new widebody. Notably, the airline cites the capabilities of the type as impressive in allowing new markets to be reached, while pressures will be eased on the existing fleet. This is a noteworthy point that maybe isn't as talked about. When you consider a new aircraft coming in, you think about the fantastic opportunities. But in the case of the A350, it's going to present even more opportunities to its existing aircraft types. The first 10 A350s are expected to offer 3 cabin classes. You'll have 32 in business, 21 in premium economy, and 259 in your regular economy. This is touted as the perfect aircraft for the short to medium haul market in terms of its configuration. Despite the many delivery delays impacting airlines right around the world for the 350, Emirates remains pretty adamant that the first unit will be delivered in the coming months. Delivery shortly will allow for a September 2024 commencement of the scheduled flying that I have briefly touched on. Thanks to the upcoming Following acquisition of the Airbus A350, Emirates' fleet is expected to change over the next several years. Yes, they will acquire the A350, but there are more aircraft types inbound. Despite the arrival of these next-generation planes, Emirates' overall philosophy, which has led it to success for so long, will not change. The airline is committed to keeping its fleet young wherever possible. Ultimately, when you think about keeping a relatively young fleet at this airline, it has enabled them to stay agile and see fantastic financial results across a prolonged period, as the youthful and efficient aircraft are really a key part of why the operation has been so successful. But don't get me wrong, there are many other pillars to why Emirates is the way it is today. While the A350 is the first step in the airline's new direction, and what I am covering in today's proceedings, other upcoming aircraft types such as the 777X and the 787 from Boeing are expected to help reshape its operations. The 777X is meant to enter service in 2025, but if you take a look at recent comments from their president, Tim Clark, he's pretty certain that a 2025 delivery will not be met. He's more looking at a 2026 delivery and 2026 entry into service. That is the absolute best case scenario and is subject to change. As per latest information on the 787, this is a bit more of a grey area, with time frame regarding deliveries not, at least at the moment, publicly disclosed. The immediate short-term focus certainly rests on your A350 and 777X. As with each aircraft arrival, the purpose of each plane will greatly differ. However, when coming together, the jets will work in harmony to really achieve an overarching purpose of benefiting this network in different ways. This is very visible with the A350 and its ability to serve smaller, what Emirates describes as more regional markets, where say the high capacity of an Airbus A380 is not required, but Emirates still wants to have some kind of a presence. Deploying the A350 and adjusting how it also deploys then existing units from that point forward will allow, as I touched on, the pressures on types such as your 777 easing, which is fantastic. These will not only free up these planes to, say, reach existing markets, but potentially boost services to ones that are in demand and require those additional frequencies. In terms of fleet retirements, which is in line with Emirates' view of always keeping its fleet young, the addition of A350s and eventually your other aircraft types will allow for the continued retirement of older 777s, and I know a conversation that people might not necessarily want to have, but the retirements of Airbus A380s as well. Unfortunately, these are two aircraft types that are not getting any younger, and with Emirates trying to keep its fleet young, it'll need to do everything in its power to position itself that will include cutting specific aircraft types. So it is over to you. Are you excited to see Emirates actually fly another aircraft other than the 777 and A380? Don't get me wrong, if we take a look back at their history, they flew many different aircraft types, but it's been a while since we've really seen diversification within their business. The A350 will be really a first glimpse at that in some time. Thanks a lot for your support here on the channel. As always, leave your thoughts down below in the comments. Please do take care. Do also stay tuned. Same place, same time tomorrow. There will be one of those aviation news recaps for your faces.